You want to know what it takes to be an REO agent? Let's talk about it right here on the REO Agent Spotlight. Welcome to REOBroker.com. My name is Brandy Nelson, Executive Director of REOBroker.com. REOBroker.com is a national professional REO organization that has been supporting real estate agents in the default space for over 30 years. Today, we are featuring an agent named Justin Potier. Justin Potier is dynamic and results-driven real estate broker with extensive experience as an area vice president at Vylla Home, spearheading growth and delivering on the company's mission. Adept at empowering agents and transforming the real estate process, specializing in institutional asset sales, risk mitigation, talent acquisition, retention, and marketing with a strong background in leadership and growth-oriented roles within both for-profit and nonprofit corporations. Welcome, Justin, to the REOBroker.com Agent Spotlight.
Thank you, Brandy. I'm excited to be here, and I look forward to sharing a little bit more about who I am and my background with everyone today.
Perfect. How long have you been a member of REOBroker.com?
Oh, now you're asking me to use my memory. It's been a minute. I would say that goes back to 2008. I was introduced to the organization through my father, who has been a part of the organization for decades, and it's been a pleasure to be, part of the organization.
I'm glad to hear that. Can you share what inspired you to pursue a career in real estate initially?
Well, I kind of gave that away a little bit with my last answer. My family was in real estate, so my father has been a broker in the local market for decades. He started in real estate in 1972. He's owned Century 21s and Prudential. So as a young child, I was used to being in that environment. And then my stepmother at the time was also in title insurance. And so between the two of them, I got the bug to get into real estate early on. And so that's kind of what opened up the door of opportunity for myself.
How did you become specialized in REO and distressed properties?
Well, it was a little bit of an odd road. My father was one of the first Freddie Mac brokers here in Southern California. And so I was around that product as a child, growing up, assisting with open houses and nuances around the sale of those assets. Fast forward to when I was going to college, I was doing some business courses as well as photography. And I got pulled into title insurance, and due to my marketing background, specialized in that side of real estate and sales and traditional sales in the early 90s, and then became licensed in 2002. But I did not start off in REO. In fact, my father encouraged me to go out and cut my own path, learn the business on my own. It wasn't until 2007, 2008 when my father brought me in underneath his tutelage to understand the REO asset disposition from the business perspective.
And Justin, what motivated you to start your brokerage or team? And what do you enjoy most about working with them?
So I started actually in the REO space with my father, as I had mentioned. And then about 8 years ago, there was a loan servicer by the name of Carrington who was looking to change the way that they did business. They believed in a landscape where they could bring the consumer and provide a seamless white glove service approach to the industry. They lined their business units so the consumer could experience that and save. And so they approached me. The concept sounded very intriguing, in line with where I thought the industry was going. And so that's what got me involved with Carrington, which was rebranded to Vylla Home for the real estate arm back in 2019.
Perfect. And can you describe your current role and responsibilities and what takes most of your time at the company?
That is a big question, right? Where do I spend my minutes of the day? So the days are a little bit longer than they used to be, right? I started, I'm in the office by 6 a.m. I probably am going to about 6 or 7 o'clock in the evening. And the majority of the time is spent developing the team that we have, whether it's doing traditional transactions, luxury properties, investment properties. A component of that is still REO and asset or institutionally based. I do oversee the institutional disposition process here in California and Arizona for the teams, and working with them to assure that the clients are best represented in the marketplace. But at the end of the day, what gets me up and gets me excited is development, right? Watching somebody succeed, watching somebody take that additional step in their career, get to new heights that they didn't think would be possible. And that's really where the joy comes in.
Perfect. And let's talk about market dynamics. Can you tell us about your market area, location, population, economic drivers, inventory? What are you seeing right now?
So I am the designated broker here in California and Arizona. I see a little bit of everything, right? I've got some of the rural areas where there is not a huge population. You look at the small little town of Payson, Arizona, up in the mountains, completely different dynamic than what you would see in the Phoenix metro area. But then you can go to Los Angeles and ask what's going on in that market area, the impacts of the fires that we've seen recently. And what I will say, hands down, that is universal across every marketplace is the impact of increased interest rates. The dynamic of the rates of yesteryear at 2.5%, now moving up into the sixes is just the reality of today. And so what we are starting to see, though, is a normalization of that rate and the impact on the market. So we are seeing an increase in inventory, which I think is good for everybody.
I agree with that. How have you seen the real estate market evolve over the past 2 decades?
In the last 2 decades, a lot has changed. I mean, if you go back to 2005, what was going on in the market at that time? I mean, you couldn't find enough inventory to put under contract. It was just one property after another, sales volumes hitting all-time highs. And then, we walked into the Great Recession, navigating 2007 to 2011. Then we saw another dip there in 2011. And then we've been working steadily to kind of improve the market since then. COVID did have a blip initially where we did see a slowdown for a couple months as we navigated that environment. And then we went gangbusters. The remainder of 2020, 2021, even in 2022, you couldn't find enough inventory in the market. And now we're seeing a normalization. So what that all concludes to is things are hyper local. I don't know if that's a change, so to speak. The markets will ebb and flow. That's a constant. So we've seen good days and tougher days, and that will continue. But the one thing that is try and true is that there will always be some new factor that we have to deal with, whether it be a shortage of inventory, whether it be interest rates, whether it be a pandemic, you name it, change is constant.
I did a show before about and change is inevitable. So that is the one thing that will always happen. What trends are shaping the real estate sector, particularly in your specialized area?
So we are seeing the leveraging of FHA loans. So in the environment in a higher interest rate market, we do see the consumer taking advantage of loan assumptions. And through doing this, it allows them a savings, or at least a partial savings on the financeability of the properties that they're stepping into. That in concert with new construction. Some of the states we're seeing a large increase in new construction, and the developers and builders are providing very attractive offerings when it comes to loan products that are driving individuals to go directly to builders in today's environment. And then the last item is just assuring that we have enough inventory. Although days on market are increasing, there still is not enough inventory to meet demand. We see that here in California. We do have nuanced areas where you have secondary home markets that are dealing with different environments that are maybe is not as consistent as you would see in a suburb here in LA or a versus a rural area. But yeah, the one thing that we are seeing is that each area is specific to their own set of problems and challenges, but also opportunities as well.
Perfect. Let's talk about the impact of technology. How has technology impacted the way you conduct business?
This is an understatement. How do we even get into this in today's environment, right? Let's just bring up AI. It is going to revolutionize this industry. It already has, it already is, it's in the background. It's being worked into things that we never thought it could be a part of. I mean, imagine a world where a person that owns a property can log into a platform. It will say, "Hey, Brandy, we see that we see that forecasting that interest rates are going to do this over the next 6 to 12 to 18 months. Hey, do you want to pull some money out, maybe reinvest or get some money for your kids' college? By the way, if you were thinking about selling, this is what your property would probably sell for in today's market. On top of that, here's the perfect agent. Here are 3 agents that you can choose from that are connected with us." It's just going to change the game for everybody in a good way. AI has its place. We have to be cognizant of and uh, extremely careful about how we navigate implementation, right? There are certain components that AI is not intended to do. They're not a lawyer. They're not a licensee. They shouldn't be writing contracts. So, the purpose of the agent, I think, is going to be, will remain. Their value proposition is going to become more important today than it ever has. And then communicating those values to the consumer will be critical to them running their business.
Good answer. Are any particular tools or platforms significantly improving your operations or client interactions?
There are multiple programs and services that we do utilize. There's one that we actually are in the process of bringing on board that does some of the amazing bells and whistles that our team will be bringing to the market in the months and years to come. But I can't speak to that yet because we don't have the particulars worked out. I will say that utilization of AI, um, forward-facing benefits when it comes to exposure for the benefit of the seller, as well as data reports that educate the consumer will be at the core of what's giving us lift in today's environment. And then there's the ones that have always worked, right? You look at your drone technology when you can capture surroundings and give it perspective in your local marketplace on top of architectural photography, um, and items that will aesthetically bring in the consumer in the marketplace.
Let's talk about managing a diverse portfolio of property types. How do you approach the unique challenges each type presents in your brokerage?
That's an excellent question, Brandy. And I'm really excited about this, right? So many times we get tied or wrapped up in our business or career just focused on one. So we look at one pillar like traditional real estate, right? You're going to go knock your geographical farm. It might be the neighborhood that you work in. And then an agent will say, well, I'm going to go work this luxury property for $10 million. And then I'm going to go sell this 6-unit building over here. And at the core, the Department of Real Estate requires that we as brokers only work in areas that we have specialties in and that we do not dabble in the areas that we don't. And so along that line, I focus on developing our team into special niches so that they can specialize in that type of property or that genre. So if it's foreclosure or distress, they will specialize in that. If it's traditional, your average properties within a neighborhood, or if it's income properties, or even luxury. So they all have their own nuances, and they are very specific, and not one brush can be swiped to handle the disposition or sale of all properties.
Can you share a success story where your expertise in a particular property type made a significant difference for a client?
I can, Brandy. Actually, I have a couple that I could bring forward. The first one that comes to mind was a beautiful property in Manhattan Beach Hill section, California. We ended up putting it on the market, positioning correctly, leveraging architectural photography, videography, and with that, we obtained a sales price of about $2.2 million. For whatever reason, the portfolio was sold off. They ended up electing to move the asset, did not complete the closing, and then assigned a different agent. I did follow that property through, and it did sell for about $1.8 million 18 months later. So we had done we had performed at a very admirable quality for the client. I had something also happen on a smaller asset, right? It was in Wilmington. It was a 2-bedroom, 1-bath, court-ordered sale. There were attorneys involved. I ended up getting the highest cost per square foot for a property that size. It was not turnkey. It was not freshly painted. It did not have fresh carpet. And then I did track that. It sold for 2 years later at about a $60,000 loss compared to what we had put it under contract at initially. So in both of those situations, it does show the value that we bring to the table or I present to clients. We do get them things out of the ordinary, extraordinary, and compared to my fellow colleagues, and we're proud of those achievements.
Definitely. And what keeps you motivated in your real estate career after nearly 20 years?
Probably the thing that keeps me most motivated is change. Like, I don't like monotony. I'm not a guy that likes to sit behind the desk and be there 24/7. So the fact that I can be out in the field, walking a property with an agent or with a client, and then also provide mentorship, training, coaching. Um, the role that I'm in, I'm just blessed to be able to wear different hats on different days. It keeps it new and exciting. And part of that's being part of this group.
Perfect. And how has REOBroker.com benefited your business? Can you provide some examples?
Hands down, REO Broker has had one of the, if not no, the largest impact into introduction to institutional clients in the industry in my career. There are friendships that are lifelong. We hang out together, we support each other, we celebrate the wins, and we cry on each other's shoulders during the losses. And by far, I would never not have myself be a part of this network.
Thank you. And Justin is truly my friend as well. So can you share your insights and experiences? Is there anything else you'd like to share with the audience?
I would say that when it comes to institutional clients, make yourself stand out. Provide a level of service that you don't see in the marketplace. And if you're scratching your head thinking, you know what, I don't see anyone else doing this, but I know I got a winner here, run with it. Run with it, scream it from the mountaintops. It's those ways that you set yourself apart from the competition that will be your strongest strength when working with institutional clients.
Definitely. And how can people reach out to you for assistance with buying and selling with REO Broker?
I thought you'd never ask. It's easy. Just give me a ring, 562-480-9884. And if you didn't write that down because that went quickly, once again, grab a pen and paper, 562-480-9884. You can reach out to me, shoot me a text there. I'm happy to assist any way I can.
Perfect. And please download Power Is Now TV on your iPhone and watch our latest episode on REOBroker.com TV or on any streaming platform. You could also listen to our podcast on the REOBroker.com podcast, on the Power Is Now podcast, on any podcast platform. Connect with us on social media. We are also connected in Active Rain and Set Schedule. So let's get connected. Thank you for watching REOBroker.com, where we do more than just sell REO. Thank you for watching our REOBroker.com Spotlight, and I hope you have a wonderful day.
Everyone knows the power of social media and the impact a strong online presence has in this day and age. But most real estate agents simply do not have the time to manage all the advertising and marketing details, and that's where the Power Is Now Media steps in. We are the answer you have been looking for. Let us help put your brand on the map. We will create customized graphics for weekly full-page ads, social media content, video, and podcast content for you. Sound complicated and expensive? It is affordable and easy. We have the best experts on the job. Go to thepowerisnow.com and find us under the VIP Agent tab to learn more. This is the future of real estate. Join today. thepowerisnow.com.